They said genius was a gift, but no one warned that it comes with teeth. The night Arion Vale touched his piano for the first time, the world outside his window was still asleep, yet something inside him was already awake, burning, clawing to be heard. The city lights blinked through cracked blinds while his fingers trembled over chipped keys. He played until his knuckles hurt, until the sound became something more than sound, something alive. In that moment, he believed he'd found his purpose, though he didn't yet know the cost it would demand. A soft voice behind him broke the spell. "Arion, it's 3 in the morning again, you promised you'd rest." But he didn't even look up. "Just one more chord," he murmured. "Just one more and I'll find it." She stepped closer, weary from too many nights like this. "You said that yesterday. You said that last week. You're losing yourself in this." His hands didn't stop. "Maybe I need to," he said, and the words hung like smoke between them. She sighed, a sound filled with love and exhaustion. "Geniuses still come home sometimes, Arion." But the only home he recognized anymore was the piano. Days melted into weeks, weeks into months, and one night, in a fit of sleepless madness, he uploaded a song he called Hollow Sky. No expectations, no label, just the sound of his soul bleeding into wires. By morning, the world had changed. 10,000 streams. 100,000. 1,000,000. Within hours, the name Arion Vale was a storm tearing through the internet. Influencers cried to his music, producers begged to sign him, and strangers called him a prophet. He scrolled through it all with shaking hands, laughter caught between disbelief and pride. "It's happening," he whispered. "I told you it would happen." But when he turned to share the moment, she wasn't there. The kitchen light flickered over an untouched plate and a note that simply read, "I miss you." The interviews came, and the world wanted to know what kind of man could write something so haunting. Cameras flashed as a reporter asked how it felt to change music overnight. "Feels like the world finally caught up," Arion replied, his lips curling into the kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. Another asked if the rumors were true, if he'd composed it in a single sitting, no sleep, no help. "Every sound I make comes from me," he said. "Every miracle. Every mistake." Pride wrapped around his words like a crown made of glass, beautiful but sharp. He didn't notice the cut until much later. He started spending more time in studios than in his own home. The messages from his wife turned from "I love you" to "I'm worried about you," and then to silence. His son's birthday came and went. He saw the reminder on his phone, swiped it away, and told himself he'd make it up to him after the tour. But there was always another song, another promise to himself that couldn't wait. The more the world loved him, the less he belonged to it. His reflection in the mirror looked thinner now, his eyes darker, his smile rehearsed. He told himself it was worth it, that greatness demanded suffering, and suffering was proof he was chosen. When the record label offered him the Genesis project, he said yes before they even finished the pitch. A global sound experiment, they called it. A chance to redefine what music could be. He called it immortality. In the endless nights that followed, he locked himself inside a studio surrounded by machines that pulsed and hummed like breathing things. His producer told him to rest. "You haven't slept in 4 days, Arion." But he only muttered, "Do you want a song or do you want a revolution?" His voice cracked but his hands didn't stop. Every beat he made felt like he was carving pieces of himself into the rhythm. Somewhere in the static, he began to hear whispers, soft at first, then louder, like the music was speaking back. "You're close," it seemed to say. "You're almost divine." He laughed at the thought of it, at the absurdity and the glory. He started recording his voice over and over, layering it until he couldn't tell which version of him was singing anymore. Sometimes, late at night, he'd catch his reflection moving even when he didn't. His son tried calling once, his small voice trembling through the phone, "Dad, when are you coming home?" Arion paused, the words hanging in the stale air, and then replied softly, "Soon, buddy. Soon." But soon never came. The next morning, he buried himself in sound again until the memory of that call felt like something he'd only dreamed. The fame grew monstrous. Award after award, headline after headline. Arion Vale, the man who rewrote sound. Arion Vale, the digital messiah. Arion Vale, who hasn't been seen in public for months. His wife finally came to the studio, standing in the doorway like a ghost from a past life. "Please, Arion, come home. You're scaring me." He turned toward her, eyes sunken but burning. "I can't stop now, Lena. You don't understand. I'm so close." She stepped forward, tears streaking down her face. "Close to what? Losing us? Losing yourself?" He looked at her then, really looked, and for a moment, something human flickered behind his stare. Then he turned back to the keyboard. "Close to forever," he whispered, and kept playing. She left quietly, and the sound of the door closing became the last real silence he ever heard. Months later, when the project was finally complete, Arion Vale live-streamed its release to the world. The screen filled with comments flying faster than light, hearts and emojis from millions who worshipped him. He stared into the camera, pale and trembling, saying, "This is it. This is what music sounds like when it remembers it was once human." Then he pressed play. The sound that emerged wasn't like anything anyone had heard before, beautiful, terrifying, infinite. People cried, screamed, recorded reaction videos in disbelief. But Arion heard something else beneath it all, something hollow, like the echo of a life he'd traded away. The song went viral, crashing servers, trending across every platform. Overnight, he became legend. When the world finally slept, Arion sat alone in the dark studio, the glow of his monitors flickering against his face. His hands hovered over the keys but no sound came out. The music had taken everything. The followers, the fame, the endless praise, it all felt like noise now. He reached for his phone, scrolled through unread messages from months ago. One from his wife, "I can't do this anymore." Another from his son, "I love you, Dad. Come back." His chest ached but his eyes stayed dry. Somewhere deep inside, he tried to remember how it felt to be loved before the world demanded he be worshipped. He stood, walked to the window overlooking the sleeping city, and whispered to no one, "I did it. I became the greatest." But the words felt hollow, like an echo bouncing inside an empty cathedral. Down below, neon lights blinked like distant applause. He returned to his piano, fingers trembling, and played a single note. It sounded perfect, too perfect. Sterile. Dead. He tried again. Nothing. No music came, only silence, heavy and absolute. For the first time in years, Arion Vale wept. Not for the fame, not for the exhaustion, but for the realization that he could no longer feel the thing he'd once loved most. In the years that followed, the Genesis project became the most streamed composition in history. Scholars studied it. Critics worshipped it. Fans tattooed its waveforms on their skin. But the man who made it disappeared. Some said he died in that studio. Some said he lost his mind and wandered off into the mountains. Others believed he became the music itself, trapped forever in the frequencies he'd created. The truth didn't matter anymore. Only the legend remained. Arion Vale, the man who reached for godhood and lost his soul in the climb. And if you listen closely, late at night, when the city goes quiet and the static hums through your speakers, you might hear him. A faint melody, buried in the noise. A whisper saying it was worth it. Or maybe a warning. Because genius isn't a gift. It's a hunger. And when it's finally full, there's nothing left of you but the echo.